Austin Metter was attacking me in front of his family's house after he had received the protective order. The same day he received a protective order from attacking Cynthia Vera in her home. And I was there, and he pulled the butcher knife. I tried to protect Cynthia Vera in Magnolia, Texas, and he pulled the butcher knife on Cynthia Vera and started chasing Cynthia Vera into her office, and he had the butcher knife in his hand. He tried to stab me when I was trying to guard Cynthia Vera when he tried to attack her, and he was on the methamphetamine really bad, and he was very sick, and having the withdrawal symptoms, the diarrhea, and the aggression and sweating and fevers. And he uh, was arguing with Cynthia, um, just basically trying to pick something to argue and take his aggression out. And she was also kind of, being rude to him and things like that. But he was in the wrong for uh, the way he was trying to take out his aggression on Cynthia because he did not have the drugs that he wanted, and that his body was withdrawing over because he did not have. And so when we were in Cynthia Vera's kitchen, he he tried to attack her um, in her kitchen in Magnolia, Texas in November 2015, like the day before Thanksgiving. And he he started to fight her in the kitchen, and I got in front of Cynthia, and I was saying, Austin, do not attack your mother, please. And he got very angry, and he picked up a butcher knife very quickly off of the cabinet that was right there in Cynthia's kitchen. And then he started, thank you, God, because I know he is going to vindicate me because Patty Maginus gave a protective order to Austin when I shot him. And I asked God to break the protective order because the protective order said that if I bonded out of the jail on a 50,000 bond and a 1,500 bond, that I couldn't go back to my apartment because they were allowing Austin Metter to stay at my apartment, and that I had to stay away from Cynthia's body, and and that I had to stay. And I asked God to break the power of what they were doing to me in the jail. And he said he showed me the protective order that Patty Maginus had drawn up for Austin to protect him if I were bonded out, and it said that I could not go back to my home if I bonded out, and it said that and God said that He broke the power because it was saying protecting Cynthia's body and protecting Austin's body and his twins, and protecting Joseph's body, and keeping me from my son. And he said that he was assaulting me in my kitchen. And I just think back to uh when he pulled the butcher knife on Cynthia. That was when I first started dating him. And it was I had just started dating him that month. And he was trying to fight Cynthia, and I got in front of him because I had never seen him behave like that. He was kind of being violent with me a little bit and violent with other people in the neighborhood. But I thought he was just drunk and that, he was going through a lot and that he didn't mean it. So when he was starting to attack his mother in her kitchen, Lord Jesus, help me, Father God, say to speak. When he was attacking Cynthia in her kitchen, my heart went out to her to protect her because he was about to viciously beat her. And so I jumped in front of Cynthia to protect her, but to try to get him not to beat on his mother. And I didn't really think much about it because she was older, she's elderly. So when I jumped in front of her, I figured he would not hit me because, I was his new girlfriend. Surely he would not hit me and he would allow me to just calm him down, uh, to not attack his mom. And he got angry that I had stood up for Cynthia, and it was as if he had abused her before. Um, and it was as if he was getting angry because there was someone there to stop him, and I was that someone. So his aggression suddenly switched and shifted towards me, and he grabbed a butcher knife uh, so quickly. He snatched it up off of the counter. So quickly, he slammed his hand and snatched it up into the air. And he started to swing like he was going to stab me if I did not get out of the way and let him stab Cynthia. And so my instinct hurried and moved out of the way so that I hurried and got out of the way. Um, and I moved to my left. Oh no, I moved to my right and I got out of the way quickly and kind of like turned my back against the wall to like face them. But I was so frightened and Cynthia ran, and I was scared that he was going to stab me, and turn the knife back to me, even though I had uh, got out of the way. And it was a huge butcher knife, like the biggest one that you could grab off out of the kitchen. And it was right there on the counter, so he did not even go looking for it. As soon as I got in front of Cynthia and asked him not to fight her, he just hurried up and snatched up and picked up the butcher knife. And he started to swing like he would swing it at me and stab me if I did not get out the way and let him hurt Cynthia. And so I I got out of the way, and Cynthia ran very quickly into her office, which is right across from her kitchen. And she went into the office and locked the door. And I was trying to find somewhere to hide as well. And she locked me out there, and I could just remember, like, oh God, please do not let him turn around and start coming after me, because I couldn't find anywhere to hide quickly enough. And I was just standing right there, uh, wide open for him to turn to me again and stab me, with the butcher knife. And he stayed at the door trying to kick the door down, to get into the office with Cynthia. And he was kicking at the door, and she was on the phone frantically calling 911 and asking 911 if they would hurry to her home, and saying that Austin, was attacking or being violent, whatever she said. She just said she needed 911 quickly. And she was very frantic, as if I could hear her in there, like, afraid for her life. And uh, she was barricading herself in the office, until the police arrived, and Austin was outside of the her office, and he was trying to kick the door, down, to her office, and attempting to stab the door, and to break into the door of her office to come into her office and stab her, with the butcher knife. I had tried to hide behind the cabinet, and then I believe I tried to sneak to, like, I didn't want to make any sudden moves in the living room, or I don't, it was so wide open that I didn't even want to run into the bedroom. I didn't want to make any sudden moves. I didn't want to try to run out of the door, because I was going to attempt to run out of the front door. But I just stood right there, and I was just praying that he did not, kill me and Cynthia. But mainly because I was out there, and I felt I was looking at him, and I believe I was going to try to sneak out of the living room while he was beating on the door, trying to get into the office to stab Cynthia Olvera, his adopted mother. She is Caucasian, he is Caucasian, because they are trying to use black men to, attack me, like I'm pregnant by a black man, and that my son is with a black man, and this is not the case. So, he was, like, trying to bust into her office while she was on the phone with 911, and he was still attempting to, go in and stab her. And I was afraid if I made any sudden moves, that his frustration would turn to me again. I was afraid that if he did get in there to kill Cynthia, that he would also kill me, in a fit of rage, just for witnessing what he had done and for being in the house. I felt like I was in a murder, horror film, where you have a victim in the home, afraid of a serial killer, that he would kill everybody in the house. It was just Cynthia and I. Joseph was gone, and my life just felt like it was flowing from me, just floating away from me, because I felt like in that moment I didn't have control over whether I lived or died, because he had that knife in his hand. Um, and he was the only one with us in the house. And Cynthia had left me locked outside. And then I felt like he was just going to turn to me and kill me. But he kept, trying to get in the door to kill Cynthia. And so, I automatically felt murder. I didn't feel like he was going to stab Cynthia just for fun or turn to me and then stab me one time and walk away. No, I felt like he was going to murder us, that he was going to kill us. And my heart just, it was hurting because he was my new boyfriend and I didn't have any family or anyone to love me. And I was sitting over there watching someone who I had started to really like, and I knew he was abusive, and I was looking at him like, damn, I'm disappointed. Life has let me down again because the man that I'm dating is a murderer. And I'm in the house, and I might get killed right now. And then I just couldn't really process what really was going on. Trying to just stand there and hope that he would not turn to me and stab me up. And the police, no, he kept beating on the door, and it was like he was almost about to break in to the office to kill Cynthia. And I felt like she didn't have any control. I felt like Cynthia did not have any control. Suddenly it went from her walking around like, being all bossy and talking to Austin any old kind of way to now she was about to be murdered, and that she could not protect herself, or there was nothing she could do. Like he had taken all the control into his hand with that butcher knife over who lived or died in the home right then and there. And then he basically was making Cynthia so afraid, like she was just in there like on the phone with 911, like, and I feel sorry for her because uh, it was her house and she was his mother, and I had never seen anybody behave that way before in person, only just like, on TV, like for those crazy, scary movies and stuff. That's what it was like. And I could not believe that he would do something like that because, of course, if she was to tell the police that he did that, then of course you can go to jail. So I couldn't even believe he was behaving like that. And that he would actually be willing to stab us. Like at that point, I was like, he is crazy. Like and then it's like you would think that maybe he was just intimidating her, to try to make her afraid with the knife at first. But then when I was standing there and then looking and then hoping that he would not come to stab me, that's when I realized that no, he will do it. If you right here that afraid for your life that he gonna come to you and stab you and kill Cynthia, he will do it. And I just couldn't process that Austin would stab us. And I just felt like, damn, me and Cynthia finna be some damn mother, girlfriend, bloody murder scene in the house. And me and Cynthia is about to be dead up in her house with Austin up in here killing us because he's on meth and he didn't have no drugs. And I was there, and I was just so disappointed in him. I really was. And then he kept kicking at her door and beating at the door, and it was like he was almost finna get in. And she was so afraid, and like frantic and yelling for the police to hurry and get there. Um, and I felt kind of betrayed that I was the one out there with them and that she had ran and left me. But I knew that, I didn't know it was that serious to have to run, like, and hide, and I didn't have time. And I was the one left out there with them because she immediately ran and locked herself in the room when he picked up the knife and came after her because at first she was right there, like she was like gonna continue to like they were arguing in the kitchen, and then he was about to start beating her up, and that's when she was saying, kind of provoking him, and he was provoking her. Like they both are just acting really crazy. And she was saying mean things to him, and he was saying mean things to her, and both of them were wrong for how they were treating each other. And then he decided that he was going to have the last word by just beating her up. And that's when I stepped in front of him, like, okay, come on now, like, that's your mom. Like, I understand Cynthia was being kind of horrible too, but he was starting the arguments with her. And then I guess she was just tired of it or whatever, and she just was like, she didn't have time for his mess. And she was going off on him really, 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 really bad. And then he started to try to fight her, and I stepped in front of her to ask him not to do that. And because she's elderly, and that's not right, that's your mom. And then he just hurried up and snatched up the butcher knife like he was angry that I tried to stand up for Cynthia. And then he would stab me if I didn't get out of the way. So I did get out of the way, and she ran and locked herself in the room. And I didn't have time to run. And I just had to stand right there and pray that he did not turn to me. And then he was trying to bust in the room to get her. And I figured if I try to run or call the police, if I try to do anything, he can turn to me, and I don't have time to run because I had been in front of Cynthia and got out of the way, and she had time to run. But I didn't have time to run once she locked the door, and then I was the only one standing right there because I was trying to see if Cynthia was okay when I got out of the way, and then he came after her. Like it was just instinct to just move. Somebody got a knife in the swing, it's finna stab you. You move, you gonna move. And so I did, and I kind of I got out the way, and then he went after her, and I stood right there like watching, like, oh my god, like, cause I got out the way, and then he ran after Cynthia, and she ran and locked herself in the office, and he was boom boom with the knife and trying to stab the door and kick the door down. And I was just standing right there like, oh my god, please do not let him turn the knife to me and come and kill me. And then so uh her dog Teddy had ran up to Austin, and that's pretty much the only thing that kept him from getting in the house. I mean, for getting in the office to hurt her because he was about to bust in. And I was scared. I was like, oh my God, like he finna kill this old lady, like his mom, like he finna kill her. And I'd never been around anything like that before. I grew up in a home where my mother spanked us, whooped us. We were pretty much well behaved. I would never think of turning a knife to my mother or even to attack my mother. Yeah, there were times when someone was abusing me, or I felt like someone was taking it too far. And when I was an adult, trying to hit me, and I'm like, no, I'm grown. Like, you're not finna hit me. But no, this kid is, I have never, even as an adult, I have never hit my mother. I've never attacked my mother. I've never ran after my mother like this, and I had never seen anything like it before. I've never seen anybody do that to their mother. Never. I don't even know if I ever seen anybody attack their mama like that, even on television. and it felt like I was in a horror film. And so he was about to get into her office, and I just had a vision of Cynthia in her office up against her little tables and stuff with him stabbing her and seeing blood, and then him coming to me and then doing it to me because he had just killed his mother. And I was so afraid. And so her dog, Teddy, he was a little like, he's a little dog, but he's not real small. But he's not like a big one. He's like the size of like a terrier or something. And he has gray and black fur coat like here. And he's a very sweet dog. He doesn't attack anybody. I've been around Teddy a lot and he never does attack anybody. Like he'll run and, bark and chase after little stuff like a normal dog, but I done been around him and at first I didn't know if he would be that kind of dog, but he was a nice dog. And I had never seen Teddy ever really viciously attack anyone. And Teddy ran up to Austin when he was about to get into the office, beating it down with the knife, and he bit Austin's foot. He had on uh, those Jordans with the plastic toe around it, and then he started like acting that he did not waste any time. He ran up immediately and bit Austin's foot, and he latched into his foot and was trying to gnaw to get him to stop trying to kill Cynthia. Uh, and I was frightened that he would harm Teddy as well. But Teddy kept his teeth in his foot, and he kept he kept like shaking his head to bite into his foot, and then Austin screamed and fell down on the ground, and he was screaming and crying that it hurt and that Teddy had bit through his foot. Well, had bit his foot, and then he took the shoe off screaming, and he had a hole in his foot from Teddy's uh, like teeth, and it was like a fang had gone through his foot, and it had like blood, like it had gone through his foot, and went through the shoe, and then Cynthia was telling the police that they needed to hurry, and he started stripping himself out of his clothes and screaming and trying to make himself throw up. Austin was screaming and trying to make himself throw up, and the police came, and when they showed up, they had showed up like they had been there before, and like they had gone through that before with him a lot of times. And they were almost like, oh man, okay, so what now? Like, and it was almost scary to me how calm the police were, because their attitude was kind of sarcastic, like they go through that with them all the time, or that they have been through this with them enough times to know that how the outcome gonna turn out or whatever. And so they were standing there like, like that in the doorway, like, like they didn't want to be there again for Austin doing that. Like they was like, like, oh, I gotta come over here and take time out of my day because Austin is over here attacking Cynthia again. And that's kind of how it was. And so, oh, Jesus, help me, Father God. Cynthia lied and told the police that Austin, uh, was being violent. She just wanted him out of the home. She didn't want him to come back, but she didn't tell them that he had pulled the butcher knife and tried to stab her. And so I noticed that she didn't tell them that because she didn't really want him to go to jail. But she was trying to baby him